My beloved child, listen carefully, because this moment is not ordinary, and what is reaching you now was not delayed by accident. A personal letter has arrived for you, and before a single word inside it is understood, you must feel the weight of why it found its way to you at exactly this time. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and the meaning of these words becomes stronger with every second you stay here. There are many messages that pass through a day and disappear without leaving anything behind, but this one is different. This one carries a quiet force, as if every sentence inside it has been held back until your heart was ready to hear it. The reason this letter feels different is because it was formed around something deeply personal, something connected to your silent questions, your hidden patience, and the moments when you wondered if anyone truly understood what you carry inside. Stay till the end, because the first line of this letter already changes the atmosphere around you. It begins with a softness, but behind that softness there is power. It speaks as if someone has seen what you never explained to anyone. It speaks as if your unspoken thoughts were heard long before today arrived. The letter says that even in the moments when everything looked still, movement was already happening beyond what you could see. While you thought nothing important was changing, important doors were quietly preparing to open. While you waited without clear signs, something was already arranging itself in your favor, piece by piece, without noise, without announcement. And that is why this letter feels so unusual. It does not sound rushed. It does not sound uncertain. Every word carries calm certainty, as though the message already knows the questions living inside you. It says that what seemed delayed was never forgotten. What felt distant was never removed. What looked silent was never empty. Do not skip, because the next part of these words carries something that many people search for but rarely receive at the right moment. It says that there is value in what you became during difficult days, even if no one praised your strength while you were building it. It says your quiet endurance created something greater than you realize. There were nights when you thought nothing meaningful could come from waiting. There were mornings when your energy felt divided between hope and uncertainty. Yet the letter says those exact moments shaped a deeper kind of clarity inside you, one that now allows you to recognize what is genuine when it finally arrives. And then the letter becomes even more personal. It says someone noticed the way you continued even when you had every reason to become cold. Someone noticed the kindness you protected even when life gave you reasons to withdraw. Someone noticed that you carried grace through moments that should have made you bitter. That is why these words are special. They are not ordinary praise. They are recognition. And recognition arrives differently when it reaches someone who almost stopped expecting it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and this letter has not yet reached its strongest line. The next sentence says that what belongs in your life will not arrive with confusion but with a clear feeling that something important has finally become visible. Not noisy. Not forced. Just undeniable. A moment where even your own heart quietly says, "This is different." It says you are closer than you think to a turning point that will make certain old doubts lose their power. Not because everything changes in 1 second, but because one clear sign can shift the meaning of many past days. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. The letter says that the reason you are hearing this now is because your spirit needed these words before the next chapter begins. before new conversations happen, before unexpected warmth enters ordinary hours, before something you thought was far away begins moving closer in a way you can actually feel. Do not skip, because every second matters now. The letter continues by saying that not every silence meant rejection. Some silence was preparation. Some silence was protection. Some silence existed so that when true words arrived, they would carry full meaning. That changes everything, because many people misunderstand silence and call it emptiness, while sometimes silence is simply unfinished meaning waiting for its right moment. And now this letter reaches a line that feels almost impossible to ignore. It says, "What is meant for you has already begun taking shape in places you cannot yet see." That means the story is not paused. It means movement exists even when proof has not yet appeared. It means unseen progress is still progress. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the final words of this first message carry a quiet promise. The next thing that reaches your heart will arrive with unusual clarity, and when it does, you will understand why this letter came first. Because before something important becomes visible outside, a message often arrives inside first, softly, personally, unmistakably. And this letter came to remind you that what is special does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives like this, one sentence at a time, until your heart realizes that nothing about this moment is ordinary anymore. And now the letter opens further, revealing a line that feels even more personal than before, because the next words do not simply speak to your present, they reach directly into the hidden places where you have stored unanswered thoughts. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and what comes next may explain why certain feelings have been growing stronger inside you without clear reason. The letter says there are moments when life becomes quiet not because nothing is happening, but because something meaningful is gathering strength before it appears. That is why some recent moments may have felt unusually reflective, as if your heart kept pausing even during ordinary hours. It is because something inside you already sensed that an important message was close. Stay till the end, because the next sentence in this letter carries unusual warmth. It says that not every person is able to recognize the rare strength hidden inside calmness, but what makes you different is that your calmness has survived seasons that should have broken it. Even when your thoughts were heavy, even when your questions stayed unanswered, something inside you kept protecting a quiet hope. That quiet hope is mentioned directly in the letter, and that is what makes these words feel extraordinary. It says your patience has not gone unnoticed. Every silent effort, every moment you chose dignity instead of reaction, every time you held yourself together when no one saw the struggle, those moments became part of a story that is now beginning to return meaning to you. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and the letter becomes even more surprising here. It says there is a reason certain memories returned to your mind recently. There is a reason some names, some feelings, or even some forgotten thoughts appeared again without warning. The letter explains that sometimes the heart senses movement before the eyes can identify where it is coming from. And then it speaks with remarkable clarity. Something connected to your future is already approaching your present, quietly, steadily, without needing attention to become real. That line alone changes the feeling of everything, because it means the waiting has never been empty. It means unseen progress has been unfolding while ordinary days continued. Stay till the end, because the strongest words are still ahead. The letter says you are entering a season where small signs will begin to feel unusually meaningful. A simple conversation may carry more depth than expected. A moment that appears ordinary may suddenly feel unforgettable. A sentence you hear may stay with you longer than usual because it will connect to something already prepared for your heart. This is why the letter arrived first, to prepare your attention, so you do not overlook what matters when it appears. It continues by saying that some people spend too long searching for proof while important things are already standing near them in quiet form. But your task now is not to rush. Your task is to notice. Notice what brings peace without effort. Notice what returns clarity instead of confusion. Notice what feels sincere without needing explanation. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The letter then says something almost once in a lifetime in its tone. What belongs in your story next will carry a feeling of recognition, as though your spirit understands it before words fully explain it. That kind of recognition cannot be forced. It arrives naturally, and when it does, even silence around it feels meaningful. And there is another sentence that cannot be ignored. It says the reason these words are reaching you now is because your heart is closer to a significant turning point than you realize. Not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakably real. You may soon notice that what once felt uncertain begins to settle into clearer form. A door that seemed distant may suddenly feel near. A thought that once felt impossible may begin to look natural. Stay till the end, because the letter closes this part with unusual certainty. It says, do not underestimate what can begin through one sincere moment, one clear word, one unexpected sign. Because sometimes everything changes quietly first. Sometimes the biggest shift enters softly, before anyone else notices. And sometimes a personal letter arrives before life reveals why those words were sent exactly when they were needed most. Then the letter reaches a deeper page, and the tone changes in a way that immediately feels unforgettable, because now the words are no longer only speaking about what has been happening around you, they begin speaking about what has been forming inside you without your full awareness. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and this next part carries one of the strongest lines written so far. The letter says there are seasons when a person grows quietly, so quietly that even they do not realize how much has changed until one moment suddenly reveals it. You may have thought recent days were ordinary, but according to these words, something extraordinary has been building in silence, strength, clarity, and a new way of seeing what truly belongs in your life. Stay till the end, because the letter now becomes even more personal. It says there were times when you questioned whether your effort mattered, whether your patience had meaning, whether the silent parts of your journey were leading anywhere important. Yet every unanswered moment shaped a deeper readiness inside you. What felt slow was not empty. What felt delayed was not forgotten. Even the pauses had purpose. And then comes a line that feels almost impossible to ignore. the letter says that certain things did not arrive earlier because your heart needed to become strong enough to receive them without fear. That sentence changes everything, because it means timing was not against you, it was preparing you. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The next words explain that some blessings in life arrive quietly first, almost hidden inside normal moments. A simple day begins, and nothing seems unusual, yet by evening something inside you feels different because one conversation, one thought, one sign, or one unexpected detail touched a place inside you that had been waiting for confirmation. The letter says this is why your attention matters now more than ever. Not every important arrival announces itself loudly. Sometimes what changes your direction first appears in a calm form that only a focused heart can recognize. Stay till the end, because the strongest part of this page is still ahead. The letter says that very soon you may notice a moment where something familiar suddenly carries new meaning. Words you heard before may sound different. A feeling you almost ignored may become clear. Something ordinary may suddenly feel deeply connected to the next chapter of your life. And when that happens, you will remember these words. Because the letter says that recognition is coming before explanation. First you will feel it, then later you will fully understand why it mattered. That is why these words are described as special, not because they create noise, but because they arrive before clarity appears, like a quiet signal before dawn. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Now the letter turns toward your hidden questions. The ones you never fully speak. The ones that return when everything becomes quiet. It says those questions were never meaningless. In fact, some of them were preparing you to notice answers that could not have made sense earlier. And then another once-in-a-lifetime line appears. The letter says something beautiful often begins when a person stops forcing outcomes and starts trusting what arrives with peace. That means your calm is not weakness. Your patience is not wasted. Your silence has carried wisdom. Stay till the end, because the final lines of this part feel almost like a whisper with great power behind it. The letter says the next meaningful sign may come when you least expect it, during an ordinary hour, in a simple moment, through words that at first seem small but later stay in your mind longer than usual. And when that happens, you will understand why this personal letter reached you first. Because before certain moments become visible in life, they often arrive quietly in words, carefully, gently, unmistakably, so the heart can prepare before the moment itself appears. A final page of the letter now unfolds, and the atmosphere changes again, because these last words carry a deeper certainty, as if everything written before was preparing you for this exact moment. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and the meaning of this page becomes stronger with every line. The letter says that there are rare moments in life when words arrive before visible proof, not to confuse you, but to prepare your heart so that when the moment comes, you recognize its importance immediately. That is why this message feels so personal. It does not sound like something written for everyone. It sounds as if it knows where your thoughts have been lately, where your quiet questions have rested, and where your hope has tried to stay alive even when answers were slow. Stay till the end, because what comes next is one of the strongest lines in the entire letter. It says that something you once thought had faded may return in a new form, clearer, calmer, and more meaningful than before. Not because the past repeats itself, but because understanding has grown. What could not be understood earlier may suddenly become simple. That sentence carries unusual weight, because many times people think a closed chapter means nothing valuable can come from what once seemed distant. But the letter says some things need time before they can reveal their true shape. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The next words say that the future often sends quiet signals before major emotional clarity arrives. A sudden peaceful thought, an unexpected feeling of confidence, a small moment that stays in your mind longer than expected, these are not always random. Sometimes they are gentle signs that something meaningful is approaching. And then the letter becomes even more direct. It says you are entering a space where what once felt uncertain will begin losing its power. Questions that stayed unresolved may begin receiving calm answers, not all at once, but in ways that feel unmistakably right. What seemed distant may no longer feel unreachable. Stay till the end, because the final revelation of this letter carries something unforgettable. It says there is a reason you were asked to pause and listen carefully today. A reason these words reached you now and not earlier. It is because the next chapter of your story may begin with something so simple that many would overlook it, but you must not overlook it. A sentence. A sign. A conversation. A feeling that returns with unusual peace. The letter says that what is truly meant for you often arrives without noise but carries immediate depth. It does not need to force attention because your heart recognizes its sincerity. Do not skip, because something huge is waiting for you. And now the final lines appear like a quiet promise. Soon you may understand why certain delays happened, why certain doors remained closed, and why some answers took longer than expected. Not because nothing was happening, but because what was being prepared needed the right moment to reach you with full meaning. This is why the letter closes with extraordinary calm. It says, "Trust what feels deeply clear when it comes. Trust what brings peace without confusion. Trust what arrives without needing to chase it." Because the most special words are often followed by moments that change how everything feels. And perhaps that is why this personal letter arrived first, so when the next meaningful moment appears, you will not call it ordinary. You will remember that before it came, the words were already waiting for you.